Hello, John.
Hey, how's it going, John?
How are you today? My name's Sean, by the way, John.
I know, John. It's a great name.
So there's a car behind you. You used to drive that back in the day, is that right?
I still have that car.
You still have that car?
In fact, that's mine.
And
that's mine.
How many years did the show run?
The show only ran 7 years.
Really?
Originally, but it's been running, on and off ever since. And when they try to squelch it, it still finds a way to come to the top.
Okay, so
imagine that.
You're here at PRI and you're representing Fireman Power Equipment.
At Furman Power Company, yeah. So when we make the movies that we make, we use Furman generators. We have our studio in Holden, Louisiana, and many times we're out on the side of the road. We're out somewhere where we need power and we can't get it.
Right.
So we use Furman generators. I was racing dirt track, open wheel modified, last year, but my wife broke her back, so racing.
Okay.
So I'm not going to do that anymore, sadly, unless I write it into a script, which is, of course, the only way I can win. So we made a couple of car movies, Christmas Cars, Stand on It, Poker Run. We're in the process of making one called Double or Nothing, and for all of those, we use Furman generators. Our fantastic new movie about the flag called To Die For.
Okay.
We use Furman generators for that. So there you go. That's why I'm here. They've helped us.
All right, so I've got a question from your beginning. What was the first car you were running before the show when you were young? What was your first racing experience?
My first racing experience or just car at all?
Well, let's say off-road in the back hills or...
No, well, my first racing experience was I had a Super 8 Camera and a 74 Capri.
Okay.
4-speed, yellow, 4-cylinder. And I would go out to a parking lot called Western Electric, and I would cut donuts in that thing, and I would film it and do little chase scenes long before Dukes of Hazzard.
Okay.
So I would not call that a race car, but I would say that was my first car that I actually got in and tried to replicate what I saw in movies like Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry. This is before Smokey and the Bandit.
Right.
So Moonrunners and those sorts of Bullet, those sorts of things. French Connection, the 7-Ups.
So have you ever been seriously injured while you were filming driving?
I've not been injured while I was filming driving, but, oh gosh, I can't remember where I was. But I broke 3 ribs in a dirt track race 2 years ago. That was no fun. But I'd do it again in a heartbeat. And
who are some of the people that you've been an admirer of in the racing industry over the years? Who are some of your favorite drivers?
The crazy ones. Kenny Wallace. Love Kenny, love Mike.
Okay.
Love Schrader. Schrader's great. Back in the day when I was on Dukes, I was an associate sponsor for Terry Labonte when he was racing the 44 car for Anheuser-Busch. So big fan there. I met Dale Sr. a couple times.
Okay.
First time I met Richard Petty, before I could come up and say, oh my God, you're Richard Petty, he said, oh my God, you're John Schneider. I watch your show every Friday. So I'm a fortunate guy. Fortunate guy. And spent a little time with Tony Stewart last time I was here. Great guy. Great people.
Have you been able to run on any great tracks around the country yourself?
Oh gosh, yeah. Lucas Motor Speedway.
Okay.
My favorite, I call it kind of a salad bowl, and I think it's closed now, is Bull's Gap. Bull's Gap was great. You know, set it into the first corner and just put your foot down and don't. You could just about bungee cord the steering wheel to the left and just go.
All right, so I got one more question.
What's that?
Out of all the times that you guys had to do those stunt scenes, what was the percentage of time that you were driving or as a stunt driver?
I'd say 70-30, 70 them, 30 me, honestly. Okay. And I did not actually jump at General Lee until the movie Christmas Cars, which was 3 years ago.
Wow.
And because I hated the fact that kids who used to be 3 and 4 used to say, Bo, what's it like jumping the car? And I'd say, little dude, I never really did. And I couldn't stand answering that same question to them when they were 40.
Right.
So I started jumping cars 3 years ago, jumped a car for Christmas Cars, jumped one for Stand on It, jumped one for Poker Run, and I've already jumped one for the latest installment, which is called Double or Nothing.
Isn't that so ironic that after all those years and all those episodes that you're now getting addicted years later?
Oh yeah, well in the old days they wouldn't let me.
Right.
And in the old days, you know, a lot of times those guys were 15, 20 feet in the air landing on either really hard dirt or they would land on the pavement. We did a show called Granny Annie where the guy jumped over a train, 187 feet, landed on the pavement, and the only thing that stopped the General Lee was a telephone pole.
Wow.
Now, I don't want to do that.
Right.
Don't want to do that. But now, you know, I'm 62. I'll jump into the last jump I did was about 125 feet, and I landed in boxes, and I drove the car away.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and that was a Mopar. I'm a Mopar guy. So, our car in these movies is a tribute to Smokey and the Bandit, but I'm a Mopar guy, so it's a Hellcat Challenger. We cut T-tops in it. We have the gold rims, and we have all the gold pinstriping, and designed a new bird for the front that has the American flag in one talon, the rebel flag in the other, and an olive branch in its beak.
That's amazing.
Right?
Well, I thank you for your service and for entertaining America for like, what, 4 decades?
For a while, yeah.
About 4
Watch
decades?
To Die For. To Die For is about our glorious flag, and it is intensely, unapologetically patriotic. And if that bothers you, then you really need to see it.
That's great. Well, John, Bo, I appreciate your time, and it's a pleasure.
You're welcome, John.
And I thank you for your service.
Sean.
And it's Sean. You got it.
I'm sorry, Sean.
It's all right, man.
I love Irish Spring.
Well, I try.